like, I'm the life changer now. So any moment could be an impactful moment. Like if I'm talking to a group of guys, I want that moment to be big. That might be the biggest moment of my life. You know, I don't know that. But like me being a life changer, that's how I go into every situation. God gave you that vision for a reason. Just do it and believe in yourself. You know, everything else that come with it, take it. You know, you can say one thing to somebody and it change their life forever. Don't worry about sitting on the back of the bus. Just focus on where you're going. Every moment is a life-changing moment. Speak on it, don't hold it in. What's up, what's up? This is another episode of Speak On It. I'm the host of Life Changer, and I got my girl, Jenie, the owner of YesHoney, with me today. I appreciate you for having me.
I'm excited.
I appreciate all that. I'm excited to talk to you. But before we get started, I want to give a special shout out to Cash App, Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify, all that good stuff. Only thing we want is the story. What's up, Jenie? How you doing today? How you feeling?
Good. I feel good. It's fun to be away from the house right now because I've got 3 little kids who are at home. So I feel relaxed.
All right, that's good. Be relaxed.
Yeah.
Tell us where it all started. Like, tell us where you come from. Like, the upbringing, mom, dad, in the home.
I'm from Chicago.
Okay.
I grew up in a northern suburb called Highland Park. And I've always been like really active and really into fitness. It's funny because my husband is an athlete. Like he's a pure, you can get it just talking to him. Like, I don't know if are you an athlete at all?
Yes,
like,
I am.
So I'm not, like zero an athlete. I have no competitiveness in my body at all. So like and I can see the difference looking at him because he's a runner and he's just like, he always has to have a goal in what he's doing, like an end game. He runs like 4 under 5-minute miles. He's very fast. And so I am not like that. Growing up, I wasn't into sports. And when I tried, I wasn't very good at sports. I did like some more like independent stuff, like ice skated and things like that. And even when I was like pretty young, maybe like 11 or 12, I kind of like started learning about fitness. And I just always like clicked with me because I was always really active. I like to move my body, but it just wasn't into sports. And I think like inevitably when you're not into sports, it kind of like makes you a dork, like a lot of the time. It makes you like the art kid.
Yeah, but it almost make you like, if it is something, it's something special.
Yeah.
I tell you that much.
Yeah.
Was mom and dad in the home together?
Yeah.
Growing up?
Mm-hmm.
That's
and
good. That's good.
Yeah, I come from like a really strong family unit.
That's what's up.
Like really, really strong. I have a older brother, but he actually wasn't around the house that much. Like he went away to school when he was like, I think I was like 11 when he was pretty much gone. So I grew up like very much like an only child, sort of, in a lot of ways. And oddly enough, he wasn't into sports either, which I think for him being a guy was really hard for him. Like we both were just kind of bad at sports. And it's just really funny because my mom, my mom is obsessed with sports.
Wow.
So she is still, this is controversial in St. Louis, but she moved here when my kids were born, and she is still a Cubs season ticket holder because it's so hard to get tickets at Wrigley Field. So she's been a ticket holder for like a really long time. So she goes up in the summer and then, I mean, she's like a very senior citizen, but she still sells all of her tickets she like breaks even because she sells so many. So I think it was sort of hard for her that we weren't into sports.
Yeah.
But my whole reason in saying that is like very core with me sort of opening this space as I grew older, just because it was like ingrained in me that like, how do you find a space to like be active and move your body, but when you don't sort of fit in those conventional ways to do that, I guess. Yeah. I will say I'm not great at, like, sometimes I don't think I'm a team player, and I think I would be better if I had learned that.
Why you don't think you're a team player?
I don't know.
Why?
I just like...
Like, where did they come from? Like, did they come from being young?
I think if I had done some team sports, I would be better at working together as a team.
That's good.
Because like when I was young, like
and
watching...
that's what I wanted you to say. Yeah. Because, I mean, you haven't played team sports, so...
Right, and so like when I watch my kids, like I've had to adapt to like, I don't know, like my husband coaches their soccer team, which I think is really cool. And I'm trying to be very like positive. Like I would never say around my kids that I don't like sports. Like just because I try not to say ever, I don't like this or I don't like that, because It's like sort of a weird thing to be like anti something.
Is it something like you don't like it because you really never did it, or you was never really good at it?
I think it's
because
like
to not like sports is like.
I know. I think it was I
know?
wasn't good at it, and I also think I like really relished being like counterculture. I was very into like punk rock and like just being a weirdo. So I think it fit into all that. You know. And I graduated high school in like the year 2000.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I was just like into being a weirdo and just.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Where did it
But
start?
I think now there's a lot more weirdos in sports. So I think that divide.
Yeah.
I think that's not.
And they be great.
Yeah.
It'd be like, you be like, this guy's so great, and then you meet him and be like, this guy is weird.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like
and I think
he's
there's a
not
lot more
really
artists,
like what you thought he would have been.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think if I grew up now and had like the female soccer team and like all that, I would be like the Williams sisters. I think I'd be so into it now. It just was like me being a angsty punk rock teen.
But I think you exactly where you need to be.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's from what I'm looking around and seeing. I think you where you need to be.
And so I do always joke that like growing up in my family, like I come from like a very entrepreneurial line of people. Like my grandpa started his own business, and he's from Poland and came here with like nothing. He's not alive anymore, but he's probably like my favorite person who's ever lived in my family. He was really, really funny, and he just like came here when he was a little kid, like 4 or 5, and he had nothing and just like grew up and was really successful, and
it was just motivation for you.
Yeah, and I think there's like people who, it's not really our generation, but like the older generation where there's like my husband's uncle worked at AB for like 30, 40 years, and he, you know, he started from the bottom, and now he retired, like, you know, really, they set him up for, there's that pride with working somewhere forever. But in my family, it was like, well, how are you going to be your own boss? How are you going to, like, you know, why are you working for someone when you can work for yourself? So even when I was younger, my dad always pushed me to get like commission-based jobs, because, you know, he's like, well, if you make a salary, you can only make that much, but if you're commission, you can like. So I was kind of
as much as you put in.
Yeah,
you
so I always
out.
got pushed in like a very sales sort of route, which I think led me to like have an entrepreneurial kind of brain. And I did. I went to school. I mean, it's really beautiful in here, I think. And I went to school actually for interior design. So I kind of got to like do that in the end. I went to University of Wisconsin, like Badgers, which is funny because it's like a great sports school. But so I'm from Chicago, and then I went to Wisconsin for college, and then I went back to Chicago. I've lived all over, but so I definitely had like that idea that like, and I don't really know why it is, or if it's like the best route for it to be, but I always had that idea that it was like sort of better to work for yourself if you could. Yeah. Sorry about that. Sure.
So where did it start with you knowing like I can really tap into this fitness? Because at some point you had to say like fitness is my thing.
Yeah, I think it was in my mid-20s. Actually when I went to college, I started working out a lot, and there was like a university gym that I used to go to because it was free if you went to school. And I went to Madison, so that's like a huge, huge campus. So we had a really, really nice gym, and I think that was like the first really nice gym that I had ever seen with like group fitness classes, and I got really into it. And I think this happens a lot with freshmen where I was overwhelmed and just like got really depressed. I think that happens a lot your first year at school because it's like your first time away and you have all new friends. And I am a very type A like overachiever at school, so I think the stress was hard for me, and I essentially got like addicted to working out, and I was working out way too much and not working out smart, because this was in like early 2000s. Like no one had really taught me how to work out, and I was just basically like on an elliptical machine all day doing cardio, and I wasn't eating a lot, so I got really skinny. I was probably like 35 pounds lighter than I am now. Like I was tiny, and at one point my mom like threatened to like she almost like tried to have an intervention because I was just like not functioning and just working out all the time, which like workout addiction is like a really real thing.
You say that's a real thing?
Like being addicted,
to working out?
Yeah, because you're addicted to like the endorphins, you're addicted to, it's like a sort of form of, I think it pairs very often with eating disorders, and I think I had some level of eating disorder, which I think a lot of females and a lot of males have gone through too, but like mine really manifested in just like addiction to working out. Like I would be sick and I would like work out. Like I could not take a day off of rest. And it wasn't like image driven. It was like just this like perfectionist kind of thing. And so then I graduated college and I moved to Chicago, and I had it more under control by that point. Like I don't think I was really, after like my freshman, sophomore year when I got happier kind of in life, I don't think it was hurting me quite as much as it was by the time I graduated. Yeah. And then I moved to Chicago and I lived in this condo and I had a little like nice workout room there, but everyone around me was very like annoyed about how much I worked out.
Yeah.
And I didn't talk about it a lot. It was a different world. There wasn't CrossFit then. It was just like, I don't know, but it did sort of like annoy people because my friends would drink a lot and I don't drink, and I'd be like, I'm just gonna go go to bed early so I can work out in the morning, or I'd be like, I'll meet you guys at the bar, I'm gonna like go to the gym first. I just sort of like, I think people would always be like, you're addicted to it, like you're doing it too much. And then eventually I had some stuff happen and I was just like, I need to make a career change. And so I decided to get certified to be a personal trainer because I was like, I don't know, I kind of, at that point, was like, I almost in a way to teach myself how to work out, right? And to like really get it. So then I got certified to be a personal trainer, and just like one thing led to another and started training friends. I was a little bit at that point into racing bicycles. And I didn't do that for that long, but it was cool to like help kind of like coach friends. And I had a lot of friends who race bikes who didn't have the right like muscle mass, so I started, and basically when I got certified to teach personal training, I realized how important like programming was and having a plan, and I got really into like weightlifting and bodybuilding then, which is like such a smarter way to work out. So then I got really into that, and pretty much as soon as I got certified to teach personal train or to be a personal trainer in group fitness, like it made more sense to people, and they were like sort of get backed off of me, you know, working out too much or stuff like that. And I got it under control, and like then I had a plan to my week. Like I knew which days I was doing cardio and I could see it and know it, so it wasn't like, oh, I'm stressed out, I'm just gonna go sit on the elliptical machine and like kill 2 hours for no reason. So so then I got really into that, and then I moved to, I don't know, I was like in Chicago, and I'm very I think one thing that's unique about me is I don't get that scared to try new things. So I just moved to Los Angeles. But I was like, everybody in Chicago knew me in my former career, which was more of a desk job. I was a creative, but it was like a desk job kind of designer thing. And I was like, it's gonna be really hard for me to like transition with everybody seeing me as a certain way. So then I'm like, I'm gonna move to Los Angeles so I can have like a fresh slate. And I actually thought I was gonna either move to New York or LA. And part of this had gone back to when I did have trouble with like eating disorders and over working out and stuff like that, and for some reason I just got a feeling like it would be a safer space for me personally to do it in Los Angeles than New York in some ways.
Speak on some of like when you did have like some of them disorders.
Yeah.
Like what was you going through in them moments?
I think it's
like,
just,
what was your mindset?
I think my mindset in my entire life and everything that I do is like functioning off of like battling severe. I have like the worst anxiety. I shouldn't say the worst. I have really bad anxiety. A lot of people have a lot worse than me, but I have very bad anxiety. And like,
how do you deal with anxiety? Like, how do you deal with it? I don't have anxiety.
You don't?
No.
That's crazy. That someone like could like not have anxiety. I don't know. I just
like I probably have a little bit of it, but you know, it's not nothing where I say like I got real bad anxiety.
Like I have stuff where like if I do something that I think is like, I don't know, it's like, it's just there's always something on like the forefront of my brain that I'm like worried about. And sometimes there isn't even that thing there, but you still feel that like general worry. And to me, and I've actually been on different medications and none of them have really worked well for me and my lifestyle, but for me, and this is not for everybody because I'm very pro medication, and I'm also, I don't really have depression, but like were I to have like depression, I would be definitely.
Have you ever went through depression?
I've been depressed, but I haven't like had clinical, like not from my brain, you know? Yeah. But for me, and this is like, I truly, if I don't work out, then I get, it like spirals. So like I always try to work out in the morning because I'm just like not pleasant to be around if I haven't worked out. Like I need to work out. There's this idea too, it's like I needed to get something accomplished. I did that.
So why is
it was almost like self-medicating by working out all the time.
And that's good. Why is it some women have issues with that?
With anxiety?
Like, no, like with working out. If you can say like, I'm better when I wake up in the morning, work out, like you make it part of your life.
Yeah.
how can you make it part of your life? Like, what advice can you give women who just don't know where to start at?
I think that the world is really messed up because one element of the million ways, but like I think that people see it as like, I mean, I would get this when I was a personal trainer. Be like, I'm going to work out and get to a certain point, and my goal is to be hiring you as a personal trainer so that we can get in really good shape. And it's like, just hire me now, and like you don't have to get to a certain point. So I think people don't see themselves like, you don't need to work out to try to be skinny, or you don't need to work out to have like a big butt and a tiny waist. Like every single person should be moving their body daily. Like and so I think that I wanted to blame social media, but this stuff is going on when I was in high school, and there wasn't even the internet really back then. So like,
this is something that's real.
It's just, so I think that it's like this idea that I don't know, it's like intimidating, and it's like a big disconnect, because if somebody, or think of someone who's like conventionally like a skinny person, like they're thin, but you could be thin and have like 40-50% body fat. Like if you think of like an older, think an old woman who's really skinny, like they may have zero muscle mass at all. So that could put you in like a diabetic or pre-diabetic like zone if you're, you still need, or put you high risk for like osteoporosis and all this stuff. So it's, you just need to be moving your body constantly for your heart. And I think our world has pegged it as like, the role of fitness is to be skinny, to, have like a certain image of your body, and it needs to be like intense. You need to be like, which I actually love this stuff, so I'm not talking crap about it, but you see images of workout, you think like battle ropes and slamming balls and running on a treadmill, and you know what I'm talking about, like jump squats and box squats and weightlifting, and like, most people don't want to do that stuff. But like that, I used to have clients in like LA. Do you know what Runyon Canyon is? Yeah. It's like where all the celebrities go, like the Kardashians. Yeah. So like,
I've been there.
Yeah. So a lot of my clients, when I lived in LA, like, they would be like, I hate cardio, and I'd be like, I would prescribe like hiking Runyon Canyon, and they're like, oh, that counts. I'm like, yeah, it's probably harder to go do that than go on an elliptical machine. I don't really like elliptical machines, if you can't tell, but like, they're, or like in Chicago, I used to have a client who would like, I'd kind of joke with her, but her cardio was like rollerblading up and down Lakeshore Drive. I'm like, that's beautiful, that's amazing, like, and dance in your apartment, whatever it is, but you should be moving your body every day. And I think that because we've attached like this intensity to working out, or this like, what we were talking about with my husband in sports, like you don't need an end goal to work out. You just should
do it for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it should be like part of your routine. Right. So,
because you got to think about it. Once you reach that goal and you stop, then stuff gonna go back to the way it was.
I mean, I don't know. People like being comfortable. They like doing the same thing they're always doing, myself included. People don't like to put themselves sometimes in like uncomfortable situations. And the sort of double-edged sword with working out in a public space is, I do think in a lot of ways it's necessary for a lot of people to be around other people, like that like challenge of, I don't know, like if you take like an ab workout, like I know if I work out my abs at home, I'll be like, that was 7 minutes, that was good enough. Like it feels, it's just hard to like push yourself. Or when I teach an abs class, it's like an hour of core work. So it's just like sometimes being locked in this space makes it a lot more worthwhile, but that can be like terrifying to people to come and work out around people. It can be just like, and not even this, like this is more intimidating than a lot of other things, but even like going to the YMCA might be really scary for somebody. So in some ways, it seems like obvious to me why it would be so hard for people. It almost seems like, how can it be easier? But I don't know. I like really, I think if you talk to most women, they would sort of hate how the fitness world markets itself as, this very European, tall, thin, lean body type is like what's idealized. But the thing, not to like jump into what we're doing here, but like the thing that I've been focusing on is like, how do we actually implement body positivity and all that, especially like, that's really good. It's a really challenge, because it's what I believe in my heart, but it's hard to authentically convey that being like a conventionally skinny woman. I'm like a thin person, so I don't think, if you really get to know and like talk to me, it's like, oh yeah, I've been through these things. But even when I've had issues with my body, I've always been a thin woman. So even like the term body positivity is like traditionally coined by like Black and brown queer women. So it's like a very like word or phrase that has been just like kind of like bastardized by the fitness community to make money off of. So in my like social media and my website and any of that, I try not to even use the term body positivity because it's just like a way to make money in a lot of ways.
That's good.
That's good. But if you look at like almost any fitness studio, and there's more and more like me who are actually, I think, doing a really good job with it, but if you look at almost any fitness studio's training manual, it's like, we stand for body positivity. We want to be a safe space for everybody to come into. But it's like, how do you actually implement that? And if you saw our classes and you talk to the people here, it's like, we've done it. Like we still have a lot of work to do to keep maintaining it, but like we've achieved that. And I think that's the thing I'm like the most proud of. So yeah, it is. But there's a little bit of a thing with St. Louis that I've noticed because I started my fitness career in Los Angeles and in like Hollywood. Like I worked in Hollywood and then I moved to Chicago, back home to Chicago, and I worked down on Michigan Avenue. So, and this is not, I think this is a big city versus smaller city thing. Yeah. But in LA, like everyone worked out. It would be like very embarrassing to say like, oh, I don't work out at all. And when I would meet new clients, no matter what they looked like, I would just be like, well, what do you do to work out? I wouldn't be like, are you working out at all? So I think here I find I have a lot of like girlfriends and they're, a lot younger than me who look phenomenal. And then they're like, I hate working out. I don't do that. And it's like, it's just weird. I wasn't used to that when I moved here. So I find that here it's like you're kind of a fitness person or you're like not a fitness person.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. You're doing it or you're not.
Right, and that I think is I don't know if it's a St. Louis thing, but it's the first place I lived in Dallas too. It was the same thing, like everyone.
It's probably like a Midwest.
I think it's so, yeah.
Midwest type thing.
And I think some of that falls on the responsibility of the fitness centers that are here. So my whole thing here is like not making it a place like some of these other franchise gyms. I don't want to like throw anyone under the bus, but if you think of some of the places where it's like they're chains and you go in and you're like on a treadmill and you're doing weightlifting, but it's like very competitive and sort of like a formula set up. Because I'm independently owned, we don't have to be like, I want to succeed and I want to be successful here, but we're not like, not everything we like think about is sales driven. So like that gives me a huge like weight off my shoulder because we can just be like, how are we a great space? And
you can build a relationship.
Yeah.
And you can actually build up an atmosphere and the experience when you come. It's really not about, like you said, sales.
Yeah.
It's about really building a relationship. People that's going to come probably going to stay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And they're going to tell friends. And
and they're going to tell friends and it's going to be a good vibe.
We're going to come here a few times. We get people in from out of town who are just like, this is awesome and I had a great time and that makes me feel good too.
Right, and I'm pretty sure that's probably what you done it for. You know what I'm saying? For to get that feedback.
Yeah.
So just transitioning. Where did the dance come in play at? Because, before we even get to the dance part, where did the name come from?
It's like I wrote
YesHoney.
It reminds.
And who is this lady?
This is Sydney, who does not teach for us anymore. If she was watching, I wish she would. She was amazing.
Shout out to Sydney.
So she actually signed the wall down there. She was somebody who helped me kind of like conceptualize this. Her and my friend Nikki, and they're both dancers. Sydney is probably like the coolest person. You just meet her and you're like, she's cool. She's just so cool.
Where did this name come?
So I had this
How
business.
did it even come up?
I just feel like it's like a very universal term. It's like, I don't know. It sounds
like something you said to your husband.
Yeah. Well, no, I think of it more as like my Aunt Rhoda. We were talking about this, but I have like a really loud Jewish family. I'm Jewish, and my Aunt Rhoda would always just be like screaming at me. She'd be like, Jenny, yes, hi, yeah, just like sort of. Yeah. I don't know. So it just sounds like sort of like a term of endearment, and I don't know. I feel like every culture has like its own sort of like use
how
of
do
that.
you say it? How do you say
I just say like YesHoney, but I don't know. I try. So the reason it came up as my name is because I think it's funny that we have like the word honey, which is like a high caloric food, So I think it's just like silly that we have that in our name. But I had this business plan and I kept using YesHoney as like a placeholder. And I was like, I don't want a word like get fit or like, like body burn or something like that. I just wanted it to be this like really like sort of silly
So it's like
name.
a thing where it's like you encouraging somebody like yes.
Well, no. So then this was a placeholder in my business plan, and I kept being like, well, when do we eventually figure out a name? And then my husband's like, you just keep calling it YesHoney. You should do that. But the thing that we focus on, like in our branding, we don't use any like honey drips. Or my graphic designer talked about that. Like, do we want to use like dripping or liquid? And I was like, no, I want it to. We focus more on the word yes, but then we call each other like honeys here. But so the idea is like.
That's nice.
Do you remember when like the Victor and Rolf fashion campaign came out, where everyone was saying like, don't text, call, like, or don't call, text, like all the like,
I see a lot of
like
stuff
stay
like
at
that
home
now,
club,
nowadays.
like, and it's funny because those like memes are funny, but like the whole idea of just like, leave me alone, like I want to stay home, I want to like no new friends, like that sort of thing.
Friends, yeah.
Like I wanted to shift to the opposite of that and just say yes to everything.
That's tough.
So
That's good.
that was like we really focused. So our classes are called like Yes Move or Yes Strength. And just even like I think
Like
saying
the yes is the
yeah,
brand.
so that's the brand more is like the yes. Like we say yes, honey, but we really focus on the word yes. And I don't know if you like, just when you're just,
Like
you always think, you say, to me, I say yes, honey, to like, it's always a term of encouragement of other people. And I think like, especially amongst women, we need more encouragement and less like competition kind of. So
no, that's good. So where do the dance come in?
So
Because I know you
I'm
fitness
yeah.
background, grew up in fitness. So now
I just like to dance. So
because when I look at the studio, when I met you,
yeah, it's a
I'm
dance
like,
studio.
Y'all was dancing outside. I'm like, man, I got to get her on the
Yeah.
platform because it was just amazing. We was at the art show. It really didn't. My mindset wasn't on dancing at all.
Yeah.
And y'all got right out there, outside, and just killed it like less than 5 minutes. And everybody was just like, whoa!
Like what just
and then
happened?
It was just lit, right? It was just lit from that point on. So it was just like, that's how I looked at it. I'm like, who is this? What is,
so
you know?
It's a dance, like what I market ourselves as is a fitness studio, but if you just look at it, you come in on an average night, it looks 100% like a dance studio. But so I love to dance, and I also don't really like doing other cardio.
Yeah.
So like I've actually run 2 marathons, and I've done a lot of triathlons, but I just don't like them. Like I kept trying to do other stuff, and I just don't enjoy it that much.
Yeah.
And I still run a little bit and do other things, but I just love to dance. And
Yeah.
I think I sort of learned that in my 30s. Yeah, I don't think I did that in my 20s at all, really. And you can't really learn to dance in your 30s like you could if you were a kid. It's just not,
That's
you know,
true.
it's just not
That's true.
gonna happen. And so when I lived in Los Angeles, I worked at a gym that was shared a wall with a dance studio called The Edge, which recently closed down, but was like a very, very, very famous dance studio. And so they had like these, you could go in, we kind of had a crossover. Like I trained some of the moms of the girls that danced. And so I would go in and like, just was the first time I could see like world-class dancers, because a lot of people would fly in from like Japan and dance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Chicago and I worked at a gym called Equinox, which I actually like really, really loved. And that was like a very, very high-end, really cool gym. And we just had great dance classes there. Like we had What I'm Doing Here there. And yeah, it was sort of like the first, I just like loved those things. And then I came here to St. Louis, and I don't know, I sort of found that like there wasn't the same, I don't know, I'm really cautious to say this because I moved here and everyone's like, oh, you're from Chicago, they have this, this, and this, and St. Louis doesn't have this, you know? And
That's what they were saying about Chicago. That's what
St.
Chicago
Louis.
was saying about
No, I
St.
feel like
Louis.
people in St. Louis say that all the time.
About Chicago?
About themselves here.
Oh, we got that bad.
Yeah, and I'm like, so I try not to
we
be
got
like,
that bad for
because
real.
people come in here all the time and they're like, this doesn't feel like St. Louis. And I'm like, it's literally in St. Louis. So what does it feel like? I don't know.
No, there's something new. There's something new. That's why I was feeling like,
I try not
man,
to
who
like
is
say
this?
that too much, but I did see that like there wasn't that level. So there was Zumba, and there are some gyms here who I think probably have like really phenomenal dance classes. But I noticed myself, I kept taking Zumba different places, and it like wasn't really what I was wanting. And it wasn't challenging enough. Or I shouldn't say it wasn't challenging enough, but it wasn't like consistent enough. And then you're taking Zumba at like a Y. You're not taking it in like a setting that's what you want really.
Yeah.
And then there are a lot of, I mean, the dancers here in St. Louis, I really think are like some of the best dancers in the world.
we got some real nice.
And there's dancers from here who are like touring with the biggest artists in the world.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of unique about here. And the dance studios are amazing. There's a lot of female-owned studios. There's like a lot of black-owned dance studios, and there's just a really amazing scene. And they were really encouraging of me. So no one did anything wrong, but like I would go to these studios and people would just be like, "You're doing so great." But I was like, I don't even want someone encouraging me. I just want to like come and dance. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't really want to be, because I wasn't good. Like, I'm not good. Like, I'm good enough that I think if you saw me in a class, you'd be like, oh, she's a good dancer.
Good.
But like, I wasn't trying to be a good
Do you
dancer.
instruct the class sometimes?
I teach the strength ones.
Okay.
but not the dance ones. But yeah, I like
Okay.
wasn't trying to. I don't know if it makes any sense, but like, there's a dance studio in the Central West End, and like they were super encouraging and really made me feel like good about themselves. But yeah, it just was like I don't want to take a dance class. I want to take a fitness class, and so I structured this to like really be dance fitness. And I think there's some elements when you're like are young and you grow up dancing and then you become an adult and you want to take classes, they kind of make the studio feel like a New York dance scene sort of thing, where I am not drawn to that. Like that wasn't like enticing to me at all.
You know what's big now? People doing like big dance offs and like recording it and putting it on social media, and it's just going crazy, going viral. Like, do y'all do anything like that here? Like,
yeah. And that was part of the reason why we wanted to do like a flash mob, was just to kind of like start messing around with that idea of like doing some of that in public.
Yeah.
But it's sort of a fine line because we do a lot of, like if you look at our social media, especially Instagram, I need to be better about TikTok and I just don't do it as much. But,
I mean, me either.
But it's like
but
we do record classes, we do like, and it's amazing.
I think y'all social media look
Yeah,
awesome.
we do a lot.
Like,
but the thing is, it's weird because it is such a safe space. Like we had this one, we're gonna do more of these, but we have these like twerk out classes, and we also did a twerk 101, where we like had this woman named Jen, who she's just really great at twerking, and she came in and like broke it down.
I never heard of a great twerk. I never heard of it.
And she, there were like 30 people in here, which is huge for us. We do not get classes that big.
Yeah.
And I later realized not a single person took a picture or had their phone out, which honestly made me like so happy. Like the fact that it was such a safe space. You had women of all shapes and sizes.
So is that your thing? One is to really be like a private.
Yeah, but no. In our classes, like at nighttime, if I know the crowd and I know they take pictures, I'll just have my front desk person come in and take pictures, and we don't necessarily always like, if we can read the room, we can just take pictures without asking. But like in that ones where like that twerk thing was really about confidence and, you know, that like we had a guy on Sunday who came to our twerk class, like a male came, and he said to me before class, like, I'm only here because I want to work on my confidence. I want to like, build up my confidence and stuff like that. Like I would have made sure nobody like took pictures during that class. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then other classes where I know people take selfies all day, I'm just like, oh yeah, we got to film this. But what we typically do is we'll do the class, and then I'll be like, hey, we've got like 10 minutes. Are you guys all comfortable if we film? And then we'll have our front desk person come in and like film. Yeah.
So how did you put the team together? The behind the scenes.
That is the hardest.
You put this together.
That's like the hardest part.
Come up with this?
A lot of the dance community here, I took like a year, which was funny because then I got pregnant, which I was not planning on. My like last pregnancy, I wasn't really planning on doing it that timing, but I got pregnant while I was sort of like conceptualizing everything. So then I was just this like pregnant lady who wasn't that good of a dancer, who was just like, I'd go to all these events, and I slowly got known in the dance world, and more as like a dance mom kind of, but like so by the time I opened,
Mama Jenie.
Everybody kind of knew me, and I sort of almost exclusively knew hip hop dancers when I opened it. And that's what I enjoyed doing. And that's where I really saw St. Louis like on the map, was through that. But then, and I was a little bit controlling. Like I was like, I want to teach this class, but you have to do it this way. And they weren't as good. And then I sort of like backed off and like sort of let them, within a certain range,
kind of do things,
do their own thing, and it got
there.
so much better. Yeah. And like there were some things where I just like, I don't know, just like let it happen more organically, and we've really shifted. We like the Latin music is like really big here. So we've got a teacher who's from Chile, and we have a teacher who's Cuban, and like they do completely different kind of Latin music. Because Rex, the kid he's amazing. He's like club music. He's like, like you're at the club in Miami, like Bad Bunny, J Balvin.
He's wild.
Yeah. But then we have Angela does a lot of Latin music too, and she plays like Selena and J-Lo and more like Latin pop music. That's huge here. And then we also, like, I am not a huge, I love musical theater, but I've never been like a theater kid. Yeah. And the musical theater classes here are huge. Like they're probably our most popular. They're full, like it looks like you're watching a group of people practicing for a Muni show. It's crazy, like a musical theater show. And Like I had a really, maybe it's because I'm older. I didn't grow up with like the Disney Channel, which I know a lot of like younger girls grew up with, like the Cheetah Girls. It's like not my generation. So in the beginning, a lot of teachers kept asking me if they could do Disney classes.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like that's the only thing. Like, why would you do a Disney class? And now we do them, and they like sell out. It's so it's like a bunch of girls in their 20s who grew up listening to that.
Cheetah Girls.
And they'll do like
that's tough.
Yeah, so
that's amazing.
Yeah, so like the musical theater thing
good.
is something that I'd never imagined, but has like really taken off. And we have, it's shifted to be a lot more pop. Like we have like a lot of Britney Spears. Britney Spears being freed was like a very big deal here. Yeah, so I've kind of just like let that grow and been like, let's just see where it goes, because, you know, as things come and go and change, like I'm not going to be able to control. Luckily, we have really, most of the people that have worked here and have left because of like life things, or because they've gotten roles and gigs and stuff. We've had like one of our other top instructors, Jake, who's like one of my favorite people on the planet. He is a drag queen, and he moved to Kansas City to do drag full time. Yeah. And like he left, and I wasn't like, all right, who's going to be my next drag queen? Like I just sort of like.
The night I met you.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. So I just sort of like wait and see who comes to us. And I don't know. It's but that's the hard part. Is, you know, how do we keep that team? Because that's like the irreplaceable part. But then the other thing is like, at the core, what we are is where I don't say that we're a dance studio and that I say we're a fitness studio, is because at the core we are a welcoming, safe environment to like work out and move your body. Like if we got to the point where we couldn't find the right dancers, I would just hire more strength training people. Yeah. And you know, that's what we are going to be at our core, is just like a safe, welcoming space.
Okay. I got two questions before we wrap up.
Yeah.
I got two questions that I really want to ask you. The first one is on your Instagram, I seen you walking in here. I think you was pregnant.
Yeah.
And it was before any of this was in.
I was huge.
And I don't know where you was at, so kind of tell me like where you was at, not only in life, where you was at that day, but where you was at in the process of building YesHoney, because you was walking, I believe you was walking in here.
Yeah, I was like right over
like
there.
To see it or to just check it out? Or?
I think we had actually just, like that may have been like the first week I had the key. We had just got in the space.
Take me through your mindset of like, like how did you feel at that moment? Because you posted that.
Yeah,
and like looking back on time right now.
I don't feel like we could talk about this for like 5 hours, and I'm trying to try not to. But you know how you're asking me about my anxiety? I have a weird thing where I do have general anxiety, but when things are like still and good is when it's really bad. Like that's when my anxiety is like reeling. But since I've had kids, I have a lot less of it, because there's something there that's actually like, you need to focus your energy on something. So I don't know how to say this in like a not sounding cocky way, but like being a mom is super easy to me. I don't know. I've never had postpartum depression.
You're not cocky at all.
Like it's just one of the things in my life that has come the easiest to me. Yeah. And I try not to like talk about that too much, because I don't think that's normally the case. And I think there's like a lot of, and maybe that's I didn't start having kids till I was 35 is when I got pregnant for the first time. So maybe that came with age, or just battling anxiety your whole life, and then you have kids and you're just like, oh, this is awesome. I don't know, it's fun. And I've got a really solid relationship with my husband, so like it's like taught me to have a lot of balance, and it's taught me to not like overwork here. Like it kind of helps you remind you of like what the really important stuff is. But I don't know, there was just like, I remember when I found out I was pregnant, and that's when we were trying to secure this place, and like one of the first, like that morning when I like told my husband, I was like, we're still doing YesHoney. And he was like, all right. That's
amazing.
You know,
so that was one of the questions that I wanted to ask you. The next question I want to ask you is kind of more, you know, a personal question. Yeah. I seen you post Black Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. You know, with everything going on, even with you moving to St. Louis, you know, rest in peace, Mike Brown. The big thing with Mike Brown that happened here in Ferguson. Mm-hmm. When you hear Black Lives Matter, what you think about?
I mean, I'm trying to think like what I think about with my role in it, kind of, and all of that. It's just, St. Louis is a unique place because, like, you know, there was Black Lives Matter, and then there was this whole more recent social awakening. And I was trying to tell my friends, I'm like, it has felt this way since I've moved here, and even before, because that was sort of like right rising to the surface like when I moved here. And I think a lot of, straight up like coming from Chicago is an immensely segregated city. So like, and not just segregated black versus white, but socioeconomically segregated.
Yeah.
So when you hear about like Chicago being like a war zone, that's on the way south side. Like people don't even see that, you know?
Yeah.
And so here it's just like, it's so, I don't know, just like, it's like palpable. The tension in the city is just like palpable, I think. And it's, I don't know, it's, so to me, like opening up a business here, it was, you know, how do we do this in like a environment that is, you know, welcoming and encouraging and helping the city and not hurting the city. I mean, like, I'm very well aware that this is like a very gentrified neighborhood in itself. And, you know, it's like, it is a challenge. It's like I'm a white woman opening up a business in a gentrified neighborhood. So in terms of like handling that and owning a business, one thing that I do, and also in terms of, this is also a queer neighborhood that is slowly becoming less and less queer. Because of businesses coming in, and we do have a very like strong queer presence here, and it's like the way I do that within our classes is you can teach whatever you want to teach, but like I'm not going to tell you what to teach, and also like I don't want our customers telling people what to teach. So like if we have, you know, that's sort of like our way of like how I don't know if that makes any sense, but like,
no, it do. It's your way of. It's your way of not allowing nobody to be judgmental.
Yeah.
If I come in here and I'm a teacher and I play rap or ratchet music, so-called, you know, black people music, then should nobody say anything.
Yeah.
Because that's the teacher today. So
I've almost found the flip side of that is where, what if you came in here and you wanted to play, what if you wanted to teach ballet? Yeah. But then our customers came in and they're like, why aren't you playing hip hop music? You know, that's where I've had more of the tension, where I've had to step in and be like, you can't judge what they're gonna like play, or what they're gonna, or what if you came in and wanted to play classic rock? You know what I mean? Like, so, and they came up with like our, really specifically with Rex, who's our traditionally teaching our Latin classes. Yeah. And I know you asked about Black Lives Matter, but I'm just talking about kind of everything.
That's good because because of all lives. Right?
Yeah. No, but well, not in that sense.
I know what you're saying. Right. I know what you're saying.
Sense, but,
no, but you was making it out of example.
Yeah.
So.
So like with him, you know, just because he's Latin, it's like, what if he doesn't want to play Latin music one day? Like he doesn't have to because he's a Latin teacher.
There you go.
But I mean, I think in my role here has just been like, social media is like so beyond annoying to me in a lot of ways with that stuff. And it's like, how do you use a platform for good and not use it for, as a white person and a white person owning a business, how do you not use it to just make yourself feel better and like your white comfort and your white privilege? Like, how do you not just be like, oh, I posted like 7 things today about Black Lives Matter? It's like, how do you actually like make a difference? And I don't know.
Or how people take you serious. Like if you really mean what you say, and if you just not just saying it because you feel like I should say it because of what I got going on. Like it's just so much stuff behind it. But what my advice to you, I'll just tell you, just you know what's in your heart, and you know why you doing it, and you know the reason that's behind it, and everything you doing is for a reason, and you being positive in every which way that you possibly can, and you go from there. People get energy from people get connections and vibes, and I can tell you right now that it's genuine with you. You know what I'm saying? Since the day I met you, you know, it's just a genuine connection that you know somebody not phony, or you know somebody that's really mean what they say. You know what I mean? And I think that's the thing that you don't think about the outsiders. Yeah. You know, and you keep moving. But I know I seen you post it, so I'm like,
yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it is like
of just acknowledging.
I'm gonna say it's this, I'm in a very privileged spot that I'm the owner of the business, so I can be like, you know, we
not doing this, or we doing it.
Yeah, I was like posting like fuck Trump stuff, where I'm like, if I worked at a gym, most meathead gym, I can't post stuff like that. But I also, I don't know. I mean, I could talk about this stuff for a long time. It's just, it's a really, the world's really scary and sad right now. I mean, like, we don't need to talk about that here, but like, I go to Central Reform Congregation, and I don't even like, we just had like a week ago Friday, we had a bomb threat at the synagogue. And so I've been there all week trying to like work with like different people and like trying to build up people's like, I don't know, it's like a really crazy, in Central Reform Congregation, I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a social activism synagogue. So like we base our synagogue on being inclusive of all religions and all people. And I talk a lot about being really Jewish, and I'm not even really believe in God that much. It's just like a social and cultural thing, and like a source for me to like channel activism in. And we do a lot with like trans people, and it's just it's just messed up. I don't know. It's like the tension is so high right now, and I don't know. It's sort of. I think being in St. Louis too, you have this mix of like this really urban environment surrounded by like a really, really red state, and that can lead towards like just really. That's what I was kind of saying earlier. Was like being from Chicago, I was sort of in a bubble, of like a blue bubble.
Yeah, I got you.
But
I appreciate you, Jenie.
You too.
I really appreciate you for having us, for sitting down on a platform and sharing your story with us and stuff like that. I believe that YesHoney is gonna go and do big things, like even bigger than this studio. This is just the beginning of it, and I see that it is at a rapid rate of going to the ceiling. And even the people that you connected with, I believe that they'll help you take this thing on home, and it'll be a way bigger space than this.
I hope so.
In no time.
I just even hope like mentally we make a lot of people happy. I don't know. That's my goal.
I think you will.
Yeah.
Because I believe that's your heart.
Thanks.
So I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Tell them where they could follow you at. Tell them where they could find you.
Well, and one real quick thing I want to say is we are a dance fitness studio. So every single class, if they're the dance classes, they're 40 minutes of dance, 20 minutes of strength. So you're going to get and you can look on the schedule. Weekends it's ass and abs. Monday, Wednesday booty, Tuesday, Thursday core. Okay. And you'll have all the descriptions. We're on Facebook, YesHoney Studio. On Instagram, we're YesHoney.studio. I'm sure if you search us on Instagram in St. Louis, you're gonna have some mutual friends, so it'll pop up. But yeah. And
go follow them. Go follow YesHoney. Go follow them on Facebook.
Even if you never want to come in, it's a really fun Instagram to follow.
Hey, yeah, it is. No, it is. Y'all Instagram is lit. No, y'all Instagram is lit. Y'all Instagram is lit. Even if y'all don't want to come, go check out the Instagram. Go follow the Instagram to keep updated.
And send us a message that you saw it on here, and we can do first time free.
There you go. Send a DM. Hey, look, YesHoney.studios. Send a DM, and the first session be free just to come check it out, dance, have fun, man, and check the environment out and get the experience. Hey, this is another episode of Speak On It. I'm the host of Life Changer. This is my girl, Jenie.
Thank you. This is so fun.
Hey, I know, right? Like, it's so fun talking to you. And until next time, we'll have another special guest, like Jenie herself. I appreciate you, Jenie.
You too.
We out.